The Galactic Empire had grown complacent. Its fleets stretched across star systems, its soldiers drilled to perfection, and its weapons of war were unmatched. From orbital stations to fortified battlecruisers, the Empire relied on massive energy cannons, plasma rifles, and automated defense grids. Anything older than a century in their arsenal was considered laughable in a quiet sector at the edge of Empire space. A small colony planet named Harrow had quietly survived under the radar. Its inhabitants were humans, descendants of pioneers who had left the core worlds long before the Empire consolidated power. They were farmers, engineers, and craftsmen, but they carried the stubborn spirit of survival. Over generations, the humans had maintained relics of old warfare, artillery, guns, and machines long dismissed by the Empire as obsolete. The Empire first noticed. Harrow, when one of its patrol fleets detected unusual activity in the system, communications were unusually strong, and there were traces of energy emissions inconsistent with a farming planet. Curiosity turned to derision when scouts reported the colony's main weapons, a line of Gatling guns, traditional kinetic cannons, and armored tanks that had not been upgraded in decades. Admiral Velric, commander of the approaching fleet, could barely contain his laughter during the briefing. He tapped a display showing the humans' defenses. These are antiques. Steam engines might be more effective. Their so-called artillery would barely scratch a hull. Bring them in for surrender negotiations. Do not waste valuable troops. Captain Lorne, his subordinate, raised an eyebrow. Sir, even relics can pose a threat if they are used cleverly. Velric waved him off. Caution is for the weak. Humans are primitive. They might throw rocks and call it war. The Empire moves forward. They do not. That is the end of the story. The fleet entered orbit around Harrow, imposing and gleaming in the planet's sunlight. The humans, meanwhile, had been preparing quietly. In the colony's underground bunkers, engineers worked tirelessly on a single weapon that had survived centuries without modernization, a massive Gatling gun mounted on a reinforced rail platform. Its barrels were worn, but polished, its mechanisms precise, and its ammunition supply painstakingly stockpiled over decades. Commander Hale, leader of the Human Defense Force, inspected the weapon for the 100th time. His crew waited silently, each man and woman aware that the Empire would laugh at them, perhaps even die laughing. Holly spoke calmly, almost to himself. They think this is obsolete. They will learn quickly what they underestimate. The first shots came from orbit. Energy beams streaked across the sky, obliterating farmland and forests, burning the horizon with deadly light. The humans ducked into bunkers and behind armored barriers. The Empire's troops disembarked from their ships, fully confident that the resistance would crumble within minutes. Hale gave a signal. The Gatling gun roared to life. The sound was deafening, a mechanical growl that carried across the battlefield. What the Empire considered ancient technology now became a perfect weapon. The gun's barrels spun faster than the eye could follow, ejecting rounds with relentless speed. Each projectile struck with pinpoint accuracy, piercing the advanced armor of the Empire's ground troops. At first, the Empire thought it was an anomaly. Soldiers had fallen, but surely it could not continue. Velric watched through his command scope as the humans moved with coordinated precision. Their artillery crews rotated barrels, reloaded manually, and adjusted angles instinctively. Each shot tore gaps in formations that were supposed to be invulnerable. Captain Lorne's voice was tense. Sir, their fire is organized. They are compensating for technological inferiority with speed and strategy. Velric's lips curled into a sneer. Impressive, yes, but meaningless. They will run out of ammunition soon. Watch and wait. Minutes stretched into an hour, and the Empire's troops were cut down methodically. The Gatling gun fired without hesitation, a testament to human ingenuity and persistence. Tanks that had been dismissed as antique scrap rammed forward, using cover and terrain expertly, targeting vulnerable points in the Empire's advancing ranks. Infantry armed with rifles older than some of the Empire's officers moved in coordinated sweeps. Exploiting every opening created by the gun, from his flagship, Velric realized the error. The humans had anticipated orbital bombardment and constructed decoy positions. drawing enemy fire away from the true Gatling emplacement. They had mapped the terrain meticulously, set up supply routes, and trained relentlessly on live drills. His advanced strategies, calculated on algorithms and simulations, failed against the chaotic precision of human improvisation. Hale watched the battlefield unfold with grim satisfaction. "They thought they could intimidate us with numbers and lasers," he said. "They forgot the value of persistence, coordination, and courage. A weapon is only as effective as the hands that wield it." Empire reinforcements arrived from nearby systems, but each wave was met with the same outcome. The Gatling gun did not stop, even when barrels overheated. Spare ones rotated into position seamlessly. Ammunition was never wasted. Every Empire unit that advanced fell before it. Orbital strikes, considered the pinnacle of modern warfare, proved almost useless against humans who had constructed hardened underground bunkers and camouflage that confused sensors. Velric's frustration boiled over. How can this be? They are humans. Primitive creatures with outdated tools. Yet they resist as if the universe bends to their will. Lauren observed quietly, realizing the truth. The humans were more than their weapons. They were resilient, adaptable, and fearless. Their strategy did not rely solely on technology, but on understanding, improvisation, and relentless determination. The final assault came with a ground charge led by the Empire's elite forces. They expected to crush the human lines in minutes, ending the battle with a show of power. The Gatling gun had other plans. It pivoted mechanically, trained by crews who had anticipated such a move. The air was filled with the staccato roar of rounds, the scream of metal tearing through armor, and the cries of soldiers caught unprepared. When the smoke cleared, the Empire's elite was decimated. Only a few scattered units survived, retreating in chaos back to the ships. Velric's fleet, seeing their troops annihilated repeatedly, began an organized withdrawal. The humans had not only defended Harrow, but had shattered the Empire's perception of invincibility. Hale and his crew emerged from bunkers to inspect the battlefield. The Gatling gun, smoking and worn, stood at the center as a symbol of persistence and human ingenuity. "We fought with what we had," Hale said. "Sometimes it is not the newest tools, but the resolve behind them that decides victory." News of the battle spread throughout the Empire. Scholars and officers debated how a so-called obsolete weapon could defeat their most advanced armies. Propaganda tried to dismiss it as a fluke, but survivors told the truth. Human courage, improvisation, and refusal to surrender had won the day. The Empire, for the first time, was forced to reconsider its doctrine, realizing that technology alone did not ensure victory. Over time, Harrow became a symbol. The Gatling gun was preserved in the colony's central square, not as a weapon of destruction, but as a reminder that even the simplest tools, when wielded with intelligence and courage, could change the course of history. Children played around it, engineers studied its mechanisms, and storytellers recounted the day the Empire's arrogance met human determination in distant systems. Military analysts began to study Harrow's defense strategies. Humans, once considered backward, were now acknowledged as unpredictable and dangerous. Fleet commanders revised tactical manuals, emphasizing adaptability and ingenuity over raw technological superiority. Hal stood before his people one evening, looking at the horizon where the Empire had once threatened them. "We did not have their weapons," he said, "but we had something stronger. We had each other, our minds, and our will. That is what makes us human. That is why we endure." The Galactic Empire, humbled and cautious, would continue to expand, but no longer would it mock the seemingly obsolete. Across stars and systems, the story of a Gatling gun that annihilated advanced ranks became legend. A lesson in humility and the enduring spirit of humanity. The humans of Harrow returned to their daily lives, farming, building, and teaching their children. Yet beneath every ordinary action was a quiet strength. The Empire had underestimated them once. It would not again. In the endless darkness of space, the faint hum of a Gatling gun still echoed in memory. A promise that ingenuity, courage, and determination could defy even the mightiest empires.